It's been well over a week since Blake Monroe became the NXT Women's North American Champion by defeating Zarya who was defending the title on behalf of Sol Ruka, who was injured on SmackDown a couple weeks ago. Blake Monroe had been chasing after championship glory since she debuted in WWE earlier this year in the summer. And since then, she has brought in a reign of terror that is simply glamorous. Now that she's the NXT Women's North American Champion, she is in need of a first challenger for said championship. But the question is, who will step up to the glamour? Excuse me. And the NXT Women's North American Championship. At this point, there is a plethora of talent that could take up that challenge. Excuse me. So we found out that later this month, NXT on at excuse me guys, I can barely speak anymore. We found out that later this month at NXT Gold Rush, Blake Monroe will be defending the North American title against a mystery opponent in an open challenge. But the question is, who could take that challenge? At this point, there are several possibilities that we could potentially see. One of them being Zarya. Obviously, we know that Zarya, on behalf of Sol Ruka, is in line for a rematch for the NXT Women's North American Championship. And interestingly enough, Zarya could potentially win that championship for herself. So that way, when Sol Ruka is able to return, she could potentially give Sol Ruka a shot at the title, and maybe, just maybe, Sol Ruka. Sorry guys, I couldn't speak because I'm like so tired right now. Maybe, just maybe, Sol Ruka could regain that title. Another possibility, Lainey Reed from Fatal Influence. Obviously, JC Jane is not happy with the fact that she lost the NXT Women's title at Halloween Havoc to Tatum Paxley, and she got a little salty. So with Tatum Paxley now the NXT Women's Champion, it's up to Lainey Reed to potentially bring gold back to Fatal Influence, and what better way to do that than by going after the Women's North American title? Another person that comes in the mind actually comes from TNA, and it's none other than Victoria Crawford, aka Alicia Fox. Arguably one of the most unique individuals in the women's division in WWE. She's actually the first black woman to be WWE Divas Champion in WWE, and she had quite the interesting run as champion. But even with all that, she is also one of the trailblazers behind the women's evolution in WWE, which dates all the way back to when she debuted around 2008, 2009, somewhere around there. Sorry guys, I feel like I'm about to sneeze. Anyway, and the fact that she's not even in the Hall of Fame yet is kind of a tragedy, to say the very least. But I think Victoria Crawford challenging for the North American title could be interesting for TNA, but considering that Kalani Jordan just turned heel and retained the TNA Knockouts title, one could argue that maybe that's all that's pretty much all TNA needs, but we'll just have to wait and see. Another person actually comes from Evolve, and I know, and a part of me wanted to say Gintala, but the problem is that Gintala recently got released from WWE, which is a tragedy, huge tragedy. But I feel like it should be Callie Armstrong, the first ever Evolve Women's Champion, had such an incredible run as champion. Lasted well over what 4 or 5 months at best, 6 months at the max. Such an incredible run as the Evolve Women's Champion. I think she's ready for NXT, and what better way to be ready for NXT than by challenging for the Women's North American title. So between those four, who should not take up that challenge? First up is Victoria Crawford. Reason being, plain simple. If you guys saw Alicia Fox in WWE, she was a bit of a hothead, to say the very least. And when you look at her track record of championship wins, it was mostly the 24/7 title, which that didn't last long. In fact, it only lasted what, 4 years? It only lasted like what, 3, 4 years at best before Nikki Cross dumped it in the garbage, retiring the championship. Not only that, not only that, but every time she would lose a match, she would just crash out. And so I feel like if Victoria Crawford were to lose to Blake Monroe, 100% she would just crash out and it wouldn't be pretty. Plus she's I think she has aligned herself with Mustafa Ali in the faction known as Order 4, if I remember correctly. I'm being real, I have not watched a single episode of TNA wrestling in well over a decade. It has been well over a decade since I last saw TNA, and the last time I watched TNA, AJ Styles was TNA World Champion, Nick Aldis was champion, and Bully Ray put Dixie Carter through a table. And that was back when it was still on Spike TV. And when Spike TV got discontinued and TNA had to move to another channel, which I didn't think we had, I essentially just stopped watching TNA. So yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while. But I truly feel like, I believe that's Mustafa Ali's faction, if I remember correctly. So if she is with that faction, I don't think Mustafa Ali would approve. Then again, he might. I don't fucking know. I don't know. All I know is that Victoria Crawford, she should just retire. I'm just being real. She should just retire and move on with her life. Another person that I feel like who should not challenge is Kelly Armstrong. The only reason is because while I do believe that she is ready for NXT, she wants the Evolve Women's Championship back, and I think she'll be going after that title a lot sooner rather than later. Enough said. And that brings us to the final two. Lainey Reed and Zarya. As crazy as it sounds, I don't think Zarya should go after the title, mainly because I know that Sol Ruka wants to get it back herself, and I do believe that when she is at 100%, I can guarantee you that she will, that Sol Ruka will be at 100%. She will be back better, faster, stronger, and more dangerous than she has ever been in her entire career in WWE. And that does not bode well for Blake Monroe. That brings us to Lainey Reed. The crazy thing about this is that she had opportunities at Championship Gold earlier this year, but unfortunately she could not get the job done. But now that she's a part of Fatal Influence, one could argue that she might that she could potentially be the woman to dethrone Blake Monroe and the NXT Women's North American Championship, which is very possible. So I do believe that it should be her. But if we're thinking reality, at this point anybody could challenge Blake Monroe. We'll just have to wait and see, because I mean we are less than about a week or two away from NXT Gold Rush, so maybe we might see someone from NXT show up, maybe someone from Evolve, maybe someone from NXT, from TNA, AAA. Hell, for all we know, we could see someone from Raw or SmackDown show up, which is possible, but we'll have to wait and see. But with that being said, that'll do it for today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button. If you guys are new to the channel and you guys want more WWE topic videos in the future, then be sure to subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and as always, make sure you guys are following me on all of my social media. All of my ads will be in the description below, as will the info to my fan mail. It will also be in the description as well. And on that, this is your boy Nash, signing out.